G'day folks, it's Rob here and welcome to our little backyard farm and aquaponics YouTube channel. There won't be much aquaponics going on today. I'll do another clip on it another time. I just want to go over a few things that are happening in the soil patch. Bianca pointed out on the weekend that just going through some of the old clips, I haven't shown you what's going on in the hoop house all season. So I'll give you a bit of an update there. Also too, just quickly, I've had a comment on a clip yesterday and another one on the weekend and a couple of messages. People concerned that I'm posting all my content over on Patreon. I'm not, folks, I've just been slack. Well, I haven't been slack. Running Kira around last week, she had camp. That was fun. The week before that, it was 4 days of Napland. So driving into the school in at, 3 days of Napland in at Cooperoo. So that wipes out a week. Then we've got other family members needing some help in the background. So, you know, I've just been flat out and haven't been able to film much for you guys. So I'm not posting clips to Patreon and you guys are missing out. They get short little 1 to 4 minute update clips. Things like we walked Lizzie the other day and I pulled out the phone. Last night I showed them a bit of a harvest and you guys are going to get a look at that in this clip anyway. So all the good meaty stuff is still coming to YouTube. I just feel like I need to give the Patreons who support us with a couple of dollars every month a bit of extra content. I mean, you know, I hope you guys understand. I like to offer value when I get money, so that's what I'm doing for those guys. Anyway, I'll stop putting my thumb up and we'll go over and check out the veggie patch. So this is our little veggie hoop house. Normally it's full of greens, but at this point it's not very luscious at all. We've had real issues with roots invading these wicking beds because I basically did a bit of a dud build on them. You know, it's one of those steep learning curves, I suppose. For the first couple of years though, these beds absolutely pumped out the greens. We had loads and loads of awesome harvests from here, but slowly over the years, the roots from the surrounding trees have found these beds and they've invaded. This bed here was pretty much all gutted last year. I went around all the outside of the bed and you can actually see some of the roots I've pulled out and zip tied to the trellis there, just so they didn't spread through the bed. I've had a real problem trying to keep these beds well fed and also watered. This bed here, this bed had a load of roots just in this section here, which I think are from the Tahitian lime just beside there. This bed here just wasn't much chop at all last spring and summer, so I've let it go fallow. I have got loads of perennial leek starts in here, so it's not a total loss. I can separate every single one of those plants to grow out a new leek. And in this bed here, the only thing I have going at the moment is a tree collard that I got from Chris, and there's another one I'll show you in a tick. This one here I noticed earlier today is covered in whiteflies, so I brought down the spray bottle. I just haven't sprayed them yet. So this one here, not too keen on the flavour. We'll probably just grow it as a fodder crop for the chooks. In the end of this bed, you can see one of the roots I found last year when I threw my arms up in the air and I just decided not to keep pursuing them. So this bed here is definitely, there's no point feeding it compost that I make and liquid fertilizers and that sort of thing if the nutrients are all going to the trees. So I figure I've had a pretty good run out of it. Up this end, we just have my spray bottle for the whiteflies and a couple of parsley. And down here, a pumpkin that I forgot that I had ready to harvest down on the pavers. This bed here, a couple of honey pod peas up there. Then we have a row of 60-day cauliflower with a load of volunteer warrigal greens. You'll be seeing them a bit in this update. Now this is the other tree collard from Chris. If you're watching, Chris, it's looking a lot healthier now, isn't it? This one here I actually don't mind the flavour of, and it coincidentally doesn't have a whitefly issue either. So this bed got fed up with some compost and horse manure, and I'm just pretty much watering all these plants to keep them healthy. Another row of 60-day cauliflower. I did have a couple of plantings of broccoli here, or sowings. Those guys there got decimated by an insect of some sort. These guys down here are hidden amongst some warrigal greens and doing all right. And of course the obligatory perennial leeks dotted around. Down this end, a few green onions, parsley, and oh look, another warrigal green. Down in the little ginger planter, these guys did fairly well, or at least the big planter. These small little pouches though, they didn't provide or grow lots of stems, so I have a feeling the ginger really doesn't, there's another one over there, the ginger really doesn't like having its roots constricted. I put one ginger rhizome into this 15-gallon pouch, or 56 litre, and it's done really well. It's taken over pretty much all half of this pouch here. So when it comes time to do a bit of a ginger harvest, I'll harvest this and the other large root pouch garden I'll show you in a minute, and give you a bit of a look at the ginger harvest. We might actually just pop down now and I'll show you what I found in this bed here. Before I started emptying out this garden bed, I harvested all the volunteer warrigal greens, some people know them as New Zealand spinach. I ended up getting a rather large basket full. Last night I just popped them through some boiling water, blanched them, and then froze them in little portion sizes, probably around about 200 grams each I think they were. So we can just add them into curries and stews through the cooler months. So this bed here is the last one that needs to come out to make room for the new chicken pen. And as you can see, we have a load of roots in here, and they're all stemming from this corner down here. So I'll just zoom in to give you a closer look. So what we've got here are some roots from the Chinese elm, I take it, and you can see those little black lips of plastic. They're the plastic that hold the reservoir in this wicking bed. Now in the first 4 or 5 beds I made, I didn't bring the plastic all the way up the wall of the tin, which is a huge mistake. So roots have come in from the trees, they've sensed there's moisture in there, because roots are pretty damn good at finding out moisture in the ground, and they've come in and they've invaded the bed. Now they've pretty much all gone from that corner there right up to the other corner of the bed up there. So they're very efficiently taken over this bed, and that's just one lot that I found. There's probably more sitting underneath this tripod here as well, so I'll probably find them as I excavate further. So that's pretty much why you haven't seen many clips on luscious veg growing in either those 2 beds in there, this one here, any of the 2 in the walkway down there, and this one down the back behind me here, because every single tin bed has roots in it. The only beds that have done all right are the Wicking IBC beds, because they are a total plastic lined reservoir. So just quickly, I'm not saying the wicking beds aren't a very good way to grow. When ours were performing at their peak, they were absolutely awesome. The water was always there for the roots of the plants. I had compost worms growing through them. Absolutely fantastic. What I would do though is 2 major changes. One, I would bring the plastic liner all the way up to the edge and then hide it under some sort of capping, either like that split pipe or maybe a timber edge, which would also be nice to put your bum on, because these are a bit uncomfortable when you're working in there. And the second major alteration I would make is the reservoir fill tube. I would turn that into more of a reservoir and not just so much of a fill tube. These older beds, I just have a single run going down here. If you've seen any of my recent wicking bed or wicking barrel clips, you'll know that I use the same ag pipe or Aggie pipe, drainage pipe, but I spiral it. So what I do in here is either get a whole heap and spiral it in there, or maybe single runs and line them up in the base of the reservoir and let that hold the water. There are other mediums you can use. You can use rock with a central sand wick and all that sort of thing. I just like the ag pipe because it's a good 4-inch, 10-centimetre diameter, so it does hold a lot of water. So that's the major change I would make. So I might just take you for a bit of a wander and explain what's going on with the turmeric and the ginger over there, and show you some of the other planters down the back. So this awesome stand of galangal is in one of the IBC wicking beds, and these guys here, there's no way the roots can get in there. There's a little port on the side that lets the water escape if the reservoir's overfilled, but that's pretty much all it. So these plants have just absolutely boomed in there. All I've ever had to do is just put a little bit of a top dress of maybe some slow release organic fertilizer and compost in there every probably about 6 months, and these guys just fly away. I mean, we're coming into winter now and we've still got little shoots coming up. Believe it or not, this was started off with 2 bits of rhizome, and we just harvest them whenever we need galangal. No point pulling out the plant every season. That way too, whenever we have visitors that want some, I just come down with a fork, break a bit off, and they can go home with their own plant. Just down the back here, while I'm nattering on, I thought I'd show you a couple more volunteers. The warrigal greens popping up everywhere, some Egyptian spinach, sweet potato, and we also have a beautiful red amaranth specimen. So those little young leaves will probably end up in a salad by the end of the week if one of those little blighters don't put a load of holes in them. So yeah, this area will end up having some bananas in it. I think one of the blue javas will make it in here, and what I'll do is I'll use a lot of the soil from the beds that I'm pulling out over there just to build up a little bit of a mound, and the bananas can live in there. Just over here is another wicking bed. This one here had the Queensland arrowroot, or Canorregulus, sorry, name just slipped by for a moment. We're just using them as a green mulch or a composting crop at the moment, green manure crop, but we will be using some of the rhizomes in curries very soon, mainly because we've got a load of them and I can't grow potatoes for the life of me. So just quickly, another little hedge of Warrigal greens or New Zealand spinach down there. And this bed here does have a sacred basil, which is great at bringing in the bees. But again, the roots are all in there. I found a load in that corner down there, so it does need to come out. I'm not too sure whether I'll replace it with IBC wicking beds or whatnot, because the edge of the chicken coop is going to be just on where that bed ends there. So might work out something else for this area. We'll just wait and see. Might be a bit glary there, but that's one of the blue Javas. There's actually two of them there. There's some of the original pups that will be planted in that mound there. Behind them is some turmeric, which, like the turmeric behind this Egyptian spinach, is starting to die back a bit because of the cool. Also too, it doesn't help that they're getting a lot of shade from the mango at the moment, so I actually need to nip that branch off. This Egyptian spinach, I'll just show you quickly before I go and show you some other root pouch gardens. We're getting a load of seed off this at the moment. I mean, there's probably about 6 or 7 plants that popped up as volunteers, and we've got so many seed pods on here. It's an absolute joke. We're going to have Egyptian spinach coming up like a carpet under here. Just to give you some idea on how many plants we could potentially end up with. I mean, I don't know if you can make out all these little pods down here, but this is one seed pod. I don't think it's been opened. I'll just give it a bit of a roll in my fingers and show you how many seeds come out. So there's a few coming out there, but then when I open it up properly, because there's 4 little sections from memory, there we go, and that's not all of them. There was normally a couple stuck right up the back there. That's how many Egyptian spinach seeds you get from one pod. I've collected a load of these for some friends on Patreon and other places and mailed them out. So yeah, this plant here, absolutely fantastic. You can use the leaves as a salad, green as a spinach, and the fibre is jute, also used as jute. It's in the same family. So just toss them down there. We're going to end up with a bumper crop just coming up as volunteers, I think. So just down here we have the other ginger wicking bed. I'll be doing a harvest clip on them, so I won't run through them just yet. It might be a couple of weeks away just as they die off, but yeah, just some battens that I'm going to use in the chicken enclosure. The little native bees. So these guys have been very active in the morning. As soon as the sun hits the hive, around about 8:39ish, they've been coming out and foraging all day. And it's just gone, I think, 4 o'clock at the moment. So they've probably got about another half an hour of foraging, and then they'll shut up shop for the night. These are the Hocking's eye, by the way, Tetragonula Hocking's eye. So yeah, very happy with the way these guys are going. You're one very patient dog, aren't you, Lizzie? She's been following me around with the ball all afternoon. We'll play fetch later, hey? Just quickly as we go up to the pouches, I want to show you. These limes are still producing loads of fruit for us, and we do have some more flowers coming through. You might be able to make out just over there, and some new foliage as well. We normally get a bit of a flush come autumn. Well, there's a nice bunch of flowers just up in there. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a continuous harvest from these guys. Things are going pretty good down here with the garlic pouch. They're doing fine. A lot of nice growth on there. The Chinese amaranth are all volunteers down below, and we'll be chopping them down and using them as microgreens, or might let them get a little bit bigger, the microgreens, and then they can be used in salads. This is the other ginger plot we have of our own saved ginger, as well as some duds in the aquaponics, so I'll show them in the clip when they come out. And there's a little sweet pepper down there that looks to be bouncing back nicely. I think I spotted a couple of little flowers down there earlier today when I was trying to film this clip before. Down beside the root pouch we have a load of flowering amaranth. I was going to hopefully harvest these guys and use them in greens, but they started to flower pretty much well straight away. You can see the size of some of them down here, and they're already flowering. So I thought what I'd do is sow out some in a little barrel just over there, without realising we're going to end up with a whole heap here. So I'll just give you a look at the barrel. So this little wicking barrel planter was sown out with the red Chinese amaranth, but as you can see, it's been overrun by Purslane. Now, Purslane, a lot of people know it as a weed, and I've actually been told by our local market gardener that mites like to feast on this plant. So it's something I'm not going to let take hold again. In fact, I'll be coming out after I finish filming and downloading this onto the computer and harvesting all this for a Purslane stew. It's a South Sudanese dish I've stumbled across. So this will be going into the stew with some locally sourced goat. Thank you very much, folks. And yeah, we'll end up with a nice stew later on tonight. Hopefully this red amaranth will come through all right and not set seed. I'm hoping the others have set seed because the soil there's a little bit poor and it's a bit of a survival mechanism. It's trying to set seed straight away. So it'd be nice to find another winter green that we like to use as a salad crop here. Just show you these barrels here as well. I moved in some volunteer... In a minute, Lizzie. Just thought I'd show you these barrels here. I moved in some warrigal greens. These are volunteers from a barrel, 2 barrels up. Defunct wicking barrel we're not using anymore. This barrel was down the back, had to be moved to make way for the chicken coop, and it had dozens, if not probably over 100 warrigal green seedlings pop up. So I've been stealing these guys. Some went into the aquaponics and some went into the barrel you just saw. So we have no problems with our winter spinach greens, I don't think. And just over here, Nathan, this is your pepino. Got absolutely hammered by mites and thrips. So I cut it right back, fed up the soil with some compost and slow release fertilizer, the chicken stuff, and put on some loosened mulch that is looking a little bit moldy. And yeah, the plants bounce back really well. So pretty happy with the way that's going. Just back up at the wicking pouch garden behind the Purslane barrel, and I wanted to show you the bananas. Now, this is our Decas, and it is suffering a nutrient deficiency. There is a disease, it's a reportable one that looks very similar to the symptoms this one's showing, but it has dots and dashes on the veins of the leaves. This one doesn't display that. This one is looking more like a calcium deficiency from the sources I've looked up. So I fed it some calcium the other day and it does look to be bouncing back. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it's going. It was looking very, very sad. There were no new leaves coming through, and we've had 3 sets of new leaves that are actually a lot larger than the previous ones come through. I don't know if you can make it out there, but that conical shape in the center is a flower. So we are going to end up with a one bunch of Decas bananas from here, and these little suckers down the bottom, they need to come out and go somewhere down the back. These guys here, the blue Javas, I'm pretty much just going to leave this one on the right be, and as you saw, I've got the other suckers down the back, so I might just turn these guys here into compost. And I did leave the center stem here just to break down, just to provide nutrients and moisture into the pouch below. So hopefully you folks understand why we haven't been doing a load of clips on the wicking beds down the back. We still are getting loads of food out of the aquaponics. You guys will get some idea if you come along for the next clip, just how productive and how much abundance can be provided by a little 5 square meter-ish aquaponic system. So yeah, come back and check that out in a week or so's time, maybe a little bit sooner. I think it's time to wrap it up because I keep getting a ball dropped at my feet. So just before I go though, I would like to thank you all for coming along and tuning into our backyard farm and the aquaponic clips. I do hope you pick up a few ideas here and there. And also to you fabulous patrons out there, thank you very much for the support you've shown the channel. I love sharing the ideas with you guys, and also the bi-monthly hangouts. I'm really enjoying them as well. So I do hope you are all well and happy, and that your gardens and your aquaponics are booming, and I will catch you next time. Cheers folks, have a great one. Yes, I'm gonna kick it. There you go. Cheers.